What's up everybody and welcome to this Hanzo Advanced VOD review. In this video you're going to learn how to play Hanzo and have high impact even if you don't have insane mechanics. Honestly, on Hanzo I have relatively poor mechanics compared to my other characters simply due to my lack of playtime. However, Hanzo is not difficult to get value out of as long as you understand your role and how to execute it correctly. Let's just jump right into it so we can see exactly how I have high impact in this game without having hardly any mechanical skill on Hanzo. Do you want in-depth guides telling you everything you need to know to improve? Then come give our website a shot. GameLeap.com has hundreds of guides over every character in the game to ensure that you're prepared for any meta. Every single guide is made by Grandmaster players, so you get the absolute best tips and strategies out there, all in the same spot. So what are you waiting for? Come check us out in the links down below. Now kicking this off on defense as Hanzo, I'm looking to try to get key pickoffs and defend the space that my tanks are creating. Ultimately, what I mean here is if the enemy team want to take the space that my team controls, they have to pay a tax for it. A tax could be damage or potentially getting killed themselves. That means every time the tank walks forward, I need to put in damage to his shield. Every time a DPS comes into range, I need to be trying to kill them or put damage into them. Essentially, if the enemy team want to take that space from us, they're going to be taxed with pressure and damage by me. It's my job to not let them walk in for free and take space for free. The best way for me to do that is on top of this box in the middle because it gives me clear line of sight from the enemy. I can spam from long ranges away and I can easily retreat to back of the box where I can get healed without getting pressured down. Also, take note of exactly how I'm firing here behind natural cover on the left side of box. Every time I'm knocking an arrow, I'm starting the knock from behind natural cover. This allows me to expose my body far less and get tons of shots from safety. Try to practice this style often because it allows you to peek yourself out for less time and allows an even smaller window for the enemy team to do damage back to you. An even bigger tip than this is sonic arrowing the enemy team so that you can already line up your shot before you peek, so every time you have an arrow knocked and ready to go, so you can instantly fire the second you peek around the corner. Now when walking back to point, I end up in a 1v1 with their enemy Genji. Now this Genji is pretty good. He's actually made top 500 multiple times on Genji. Now let me really break down exactly what I do here in slow motion so that you can understand how I outplay this Genji so badly. Now the first thing that's important for you to understand is that I knew the Genji was going to come for me the second I fired off my dragon. I took a shot at the Genji from over here, so the enemy Genji knew I was here, and on top of that, there were mines separating me from my team. The second I fire off the dragon, the Genji sees it as an opportunity to try to punish me. I know that the Genji is going to contest me here, because that's exactly what I would be doing on Genji. The Genji Hanzo matchup is heavily favored for Genji, so most of the time if a Hanzo is isolated as Genji, I'm simply going to dash at him and try to kill him. Now let's break down the two things that you need to do in order to win the Genji Hanzo 1v1, and what I do in this specific matchup. Now there are really two big ways in order to win the Genji 1v1. The first is to insta-kill the Genji before he has a chance to get reflect off, and the second is to bait out reflect and kill Genji afterwards. The first one is extremely risky because if you accidentally shoot yourself, the matchup is simply lost almost immediately. That level of burst damage allows the Genji to instantly kill you. Now the second option, baiting out reflect first, is very difficult, especially if the enemy Genji is very lethal. A Genji won't give you much time in order to bait out reflect and can often put tons of pressure on you, forcing you to make a mistake. Essentially, what you have to create is a dynamic where the enemy Genji actually fears getting one-shotted by you, thus making him feel like he has to reflect. It's almost like a respect teeter-totter. The more respect that you demand from the Genji, the easier it is for him to make a mistake and for you to bait out his reflect. Now right here, I try to headshot the Genji when I know he's trying to close the distance on me. He's about to dash in, so I try to get an easy headshot on him. Unfortunately, I miss. That being said, what I need to do next is try to bait his reflect. That is my one and only goal at this point. I make a really aggressive flick towards his head, but divert at the last second. The second I hear the Genji reflect sound, I instantly want to separate myself between me and the Genji, because the second he's done with reflect, he can easily do damage to me. In order to do this, I wall climb to get as much distance from me and the Genji as possible. Then, at the apex of my jump, I knock an arrow and instantly flick to the Genji's head the second his reflect is over. This allows me to win the duel, but more importantly, set the precedent for how this matchup goes for the rest of the game. Essentially, the first time a Genji dives you when you're playing Hanzo is the litmus test. This is when he decides whether or not you'll be a free farm for the rest of the game. If he proves that he can easily farm you, he'll attempt to farm you every single time he sees you. He'll either force you to switch off or he'll get tons of value out of killing you over and over again. Me shutting him down is not only good in this fight, it definitely helps the mental battle for fights to come. Now due to a number of factors, especially the fact that the enemy team had a whopping 5 ultimates, they managed to definitively take the first point from us. Even though in both of the fights I got kills, it simply wasn't enough. Unlike on second point, first point the enemy team has spawn advantage. While on second, trades are actually good because you have spawn advantage. On first, because of the long walk back, if some of you get picked, it makes it really hard to full group as a 6 and have a fair team fight. Essentially, even though I got some picks, we didn't win the team fight fast enough in order to close it out, thus allowing the enemy team to win that point over time. Now, a couple of fights later, we get in a situation where if I don't make a play, we most likely lose this team fight. I managed to really pop off and secure this team fight for us, so let's break down exactly my thought process while going through this play. Now, the first thing you want to try to do as Hanzo is try to get a preliminary pick. Getting a pick on Hanzo is not that hard. It's low risk peeking from on top of this box, and if you get a kill, it already wins you the team fight. Unfortunately, this doesn't happen, and the Genji comes to try to contest me. As he does, with the enemy team pushing in, I need to fix my positioning as fast as possible. I need to regroup with my supports and tanks in order to be an active source of damage and make sure that I don't get picked as well. Now right here, I Sonic Arrow my feet. Let me explain exactly why I make this play. First off, I know the Genji could be pursuing me, and I don't want to give him the opportunity to get a pick on me. But more importantly than that, this is a box that I want to control. I want to be able to do damage actively from this box, peeking in and out from the high ground to secure kills on the enemy team. It's my job as Hanzo to make sure I control this box, and it's the Genji and Lucio's job to try to contest me up here. Because of the sources of damage, Lucio and Genji that can easily contest me up here, I want to make sure I have as much information as possible. Knowing the enemy is coming gives me informational advantage, making for the 1v1 that much easier. After that, I see the Ana's on the high ground to the top, so I instantly dash at her and line up a straight shot. This is a very easy shot in order to confirm a kill on her. The follow-up shots on McCree are really easy because it's just a spam with Storm Arrow. Then lastly, a follow-up on the Lucio that's in Gravitic Flux. This was a definitive team fight win. However, the important play here was not getting picked off by the Genji. If I allowed the Genji to kill me, the Ana plus Genji together could have easily snowballed this point. I needed to make sure that I was in a safe position and not caught out. While playing the forward high ground in order to get picks is good, make sure you still have resources in order to get back to your team. It's important to keep track of your positioning and reevaluate it every time the enemy team is engaging or disengaging. Now moving on to attack, we only have to nearly cap both points on second in order to win this game. So we put ourselves in a good position to actually secure that sweet SR. Mainly due to the fact that I'm boosted trash, I have a hard time getting any value on attack here. All joking aside, the enemy Pharah Mercy and the Hanzo that's pocketed by the Mercy make it really hard for me to contest them, and I take these angles too aggressively. Trying to secure this high ground is good, but taking it too aggressively allows me to get easily punished. A big part of why I fail there is my inability to consistently contest the Pharah. Now, even though Hanzo is not a hit scan, good Hanzos can still consistently put shots into the Pharah. As long as you aim for the legs, consistent body shots should happen on Hanzo. Due to my inadequate mechanics, the Hanzo and Pharah create a squeeze on me that gives me little to no space to operate. Essentially what I'm saying here is if I was mechanically better at contesting the Pharah, this wouldn't have been a shutout and I would have been able to get much more impact on first point. There were a couple opportunities that presented itself for me to punish the Pharah, but I simply couldn't capitalize. Solo grinding your mechanics on that specific hero can definitely make you more efficient and contest far more things than you ever thought you could. A Pharah is a perfect example of a hero that a good Hanzo can contest, but a bad Hanzo completely gets countered by. Putting time and effort into consistently being able to hit these shots can definitely make you more lethal and have more impact overall, which translates to more games won. Regardless of all those factors, my team managed to make some huge plays, so no thanks to me, we still managed to cap first. That being said, because of the plays I made on defense, we still have a good shot at winning and closing out this game. Now moving on to attack, both teams have a lot of ultimates, but we want to win this fight as fast as possible even though we have tons of time in the bank. A big part of this matchup is me trying to contest this Hanzo on the top right high ground. It's so vital that we contest this high ground because if the enemy Hanzo maintains it, he can easily get picks onto our team as we engage. This could lead to a lost team fight without us even being able to use ults to win it definitively. This is a really important concept for you to understand. If the enemy Hanzo gets a couple of picks off on this high ground, even if we win the whole team fight and kill them over and over again, because of spawn advantage, they can trickle back with Ball and other characters in order to stall out the point and actually win the team fight. Essentially what I mean here is we need a really big fighting force in order to actually secure 2CP. This is why 2CP is so frustrating, because if you don't shut down their source of damage and they manage to get a couple of picks off, it makes it impossible to actually secure the point. Now after we got that pick, we definitely want to ult in and try to secure this fight really quickly. Ending fights quickly is one of the best ways in order to win a 2CP. You don't want to give the enemy team time in order to respawn and regroup. Our Sigma uses Gravitic Flux and I instantly follow it up with Dragon. The enemy team's Immortality Field saves the Rhine, but that's okay because me and my team push forward and put tons of pressure in. I climb to the high ground to get a better vantage point and I Sonic the box again. This is exactly what I did on defense, and what this does is it secures the box around me so I know for a fact that no one is coming to pursue me. It's an instantaneous move that I often do in order to make sure I'm safe. The worst thing that could possibly happen is me getting picked off here because it's my job to try to close out this fight. After the most Pepega Hanzo 1v1 you ever seen, we managed to zone away the enemy and win the point. Now I hope this video has been helpful for you in understanding how to pop off and have high impact on Hanzo even if your mechanics are frankly not that good. Hanzo's a character that can get tons of value without having to hit these really hard mechanically demanding shots. And based on the most recent PTR patch where shields are dramatically nerfed, Hanzo's looking to be one of the strongest DPS going forward. Definitely put some time into grind this character and learn everything you can because he's definitely going to be top of the meta going forward. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Any questions or characters you really want an in-depth VOD review on, please leave them in the comments down below. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time. Do you want to develop yourself as a player whose skill is not only adaptable, but transcends multiple metas? Don't worry, we got you covered. GameLeap.com is the only place where you'll find skills that work you from the ground up so that you can have the solid fundamental that can transition through any meta that you can come across. Not only that, but we have hundreds of videos that stem from in-depth guides to tips and tricks that can help you be prepared to dominate your ranked environment and get that sweet SR. We're so confident that our product will help you that we offer a 10-day money-back guarantee. Come check us out risk-free in the links down below.